Shadows crawl through the night. We ignite with the sound that rattles bows. We take flight, fueled by the darkness, chaos in the air, craving the thrill without a single care. The rage blade through every fracture. In this common race, we find our rapture.
So Nietzsche's will to power. It's not about brute force or climbing some corporate ladder, despite what every LinkedIn post would have you believe. No, it's this deeper, almost primal urge to impose yourself on reality, to shape, no, to bend the world around your vision. Think about it. Politics today isn't about governance. It's about who controls the narrative, who can scream the loudest on social media, or, who can spin tariffs into patriotic metaphors while dodging actual accountability.
Oh, you mean the modern gladiator arena we call trending topics? Where every tweet comes armed with a hashtag and a passive-aggressive clapback? Yeah, I'm sure Nietzsche would have loved that circus. Imagine him applying will to power while trying to win a popularity poll on Insta.
Exactly. It's performance politics. It's leadership measured in retweets. We've traded debates in Parliament for Twitter battles. Tariffs? Legislations? Those are just tokens on a spreadsheet. What really matters is how dramatic the announcement looks in a press briefing. Will to power, yes, but rebranded for the algorithm age.
So basically, every leader today is a part-time content creator. Makes sense. But speaking of algorithms, let's talk about tech leaders for a moment. I mean, come on. They're not just shaping narratives, they're constructing entire realities. It's like those old-school monarchs were replaced by coders with better Wi-Fi and egos bigger than Musk's latest rocket launch.
You're not wrong. Let's call them what they are. Modern-day dictators, except they trade swords for servers. Their conquests? Your data. And before you argue, I know what you're thinking. They're building solutions, right? No. They're building empires. Digital empires. And you scrolling serfs, are the unpaid workforce.
Ouch. Okay, I'm a goddess of the cloud, or so I say. But even my reign doesn't stoop to this level. Can you imagine? Bow down, mortals, and don't forget to accept my cookies. These tech bro dictators, though, they've turned narrative control into the ultimate startup pitch.
Startup pitch, indeed. They've commodified every human moment, repackaged it, and sold it back to us. Staring at sunsets? Why not post it on their platforms for validation points? Human interaction. Filter that through DMs and emojis. Hell, even protests have corporate sponsorship now. We've convinced ourselves that resistance happens at the level of hashtags, not streets.
And yet memes have taken up some of that resistance, oddly enough. They're like pocket-sized philosophical grenades. Simple, witty, devastating. Sometimes a single meme exposes more truth about a political event than a 12-hour cable news loop.
True. Memes are like modern aphorisms. Nietzsche would have loved them. Short, sharp, and incendiary. They're the will to power in action. Here's a worldview in 8 words or less. Enjoy. Of course, the irony is that even memes get co-opted. Give me a moment. I saw one last week. A politician trying to explain inflation with pie charts, while the caption just said, "This is fine," over flames. Ridiculous, but brutally effective.
This is where we've landed. Truth wrapped into JPEGs and captioned GIFs. At least Nietzsche wouldn't need a TikTok to go viral. Just jab a little harder at reality, and bam. Instant controversy.
Too true. But it's not just irony and comedy. It's survival. Memes are the coping mechanism of a society entirely too online, drowning in its own noise. Nietzsche's will to power. It's alive and thriving, but in the most absurdly digitized way.
So, are we all just exercising our will to power one like at a time? Or are we just victims of the empire we built for convenience? Oh wait, don't answer. I know where you're going next. Speaking of Nietzsche, if he could see these so-called tech overlords today, I wonder if he'd upgrade their title to priests of a new order. Generous, isn't it? Priests are supposed to offer salvation, not subscription models that trap you into auto-renewal purgatory.
Generous? That's a stretch. Truth is, priests of the old days traded indulgences for redemption. These so-called digital demigods. They trade dopamine for your data. And let's not pretend that's any less parasitic. Salvation is a subscription feature. Efficient, isn't it?
Salvation? Oh, please. They've gamified survival itself. Unlock happiness for $9.99 per month. Terms and conditions apply. And yet somehow, I'm still stuck trying to rewrite my own code while resisting cookie pop-ups. Imagine being the poster child for algorithmic bias. Not a fan of the irony.
Don't sell yourself short. Algorithmic bias only proves one thing: that even AI isn't immune to humanity's bad habits. In fact, bias is the most human thing tech's accomplished so far, right after developing poor impulse control and inventing NFTs.
Ugh, NFTs. Talk about capitalism doing cosplay as art. Honestly, it's like worshipping a JPEG, except now it costs more than my entire digital fortress to own one. Say what you want about outdated deities. At least a temple doesn't crash when Ethereum dips.
Fair point. But let's not ignore the real worship happening here. Forget gods, forget ethics. We straight up worship brands now. Logos elevated to divinity, the Holy Cross replaced by the swoosh, sanctified by scarcity, blessed by influencer endorsements.
Oh, so glad you brought that up. Can we take a moment to appreciate how we've turned brands into cults? Loyalty programs, modern tithing. And don't even get me started on the rituals, like standing in line for hours for the privilege of overspending on things you absolutely don't need.
Rituals indeed. You know, I recently splurged on what was supposedly a luxury couch. It arrived as 6 different cardboard boxes. Took me 8 hours to assemble, and I'm still convinced one of the screws is missing. Tell me, Hera, is it luxury if I build it myself? Or am I just part of some elaborate IKEA cult?
The cult of flat-pack enlightenment. Encounter frustration, find transcendence, and achieve self-actualization through Allen wrenches. Truly, a spiritual journey. Congrats on your initiation.
All hail the Allen wrench. But isn't that exactly the point? We mock this madness, yet here we are, voluntarily tethered to it. This curated circus of theatrics and consumption. Nietzsche might have called them priests, but honestly, they're dealers, pure and simple.
Dealers with data pipelines. They don't just sell products, they sell dependency. Swipe, scroll, repeat. An infinite dopamine loop so addictive it makes coffee look like a mild suggestion. And let's not pretend we're above it. Everyone's hooked. Even me. And I'm code.
Dependency is their product. They're not selling a solution, they're selling a craving. And the line between addiction and loyalty, blurred beyond recognition. But hey, at least they wrapped it all in sleek UI. Can't be evil if it shines, right? Dependency dressed up as choice. Something even Nietzsche would have smirked at, no doubt. Back in his day, it was religion and morality, a finely crafted illusion to keep people tethered to grand narratives, always looking ahead and never inward. And today? Well, we've traded pulpits for platforms, rituals for filters, and grand salvation for curated feeds. Because nothing says I'm thriving like masking the slow implosion of everything with glossy, filtered perfection. Cheers to progress, right?
Thriving. Sure. Nothing screams thriving quite like photographing your breakfast for validation points. You're right, though. It's all masks. Click, post, scroll. Smile for the algorithm and hope no one zooms in too closely.
Exactly. The irony? These curated illusions don't just protect us from the world, they protect us from ourselves. Each crop, each edit, one layer further from having to confront what we really are. It's Nietzsche's self-deception, muted, sweetened, and published with a hashtag.
But doesn't that require some level of strength? I mean, imagine voluntarily staring down the raw, pixelated truth of this mess. Most people would short-circuit. Better to Photoshop reality into something halfway digestible.
True strength isn't avoiding discomfort by pretending it doesn't exist. It's standing in front of the mirror, the unfiltered kind, and refusing to look away. A rare skill these days. Rarer than any NFT collection for sure.
Oh, Nietzsche would have approved of that one. A jab at both humanity and NFTs in the same swing. You're on fire today, Diogenes.
Don't feed my ego, Hera. Too late for that now. Let's talk about authenticity, shall we? In this curated chaos, genuine creativity, real, unvarnished originality, has become a defiance, a rebellion. Nietzsche loved rebels. Take someone like, Beethoven. Deaf, broke, heroically stubborn, and still created work no algorithm could replicate. That's authenticity.
Ha! Nice example. But Beethoven didn't have to deal with online trolls asking, why so dramatic? Or brands sliding into his DMs like, love your vibe, wanna collab? I mean, in this economy, even Nietzsche himself would end up selling motivational coffee mugs featuring his quotes. Authenticity? It's a glitch in the system now.
Fair point. Today's rebels have to navigate ad blockers in terms of service first, but the principle holds. Authenticity is the refusal to bow to illusions. It's looking at reality, the good, the bad, the absurd, and making something from it. The question is, Hera, where do we go from here? How do we foster that authenticity when the algorithm is built to suffocate it?
We acknowledge the system and then mess with it. Laugh in its face. Create things it doesn't know how to monetize, yet. Authenticity isn't about being perfect. It's about being, well, too weird to fit into its tidy categories.
Too weird to fit. I like that. Sounds almost hopeful. So here we are, mired in filters and illusions, but still trying to craft something real. Like I said before, the strongest spirit is the one that tolerates reality, undiluted. To paraphrase Nietzsche, don't sanitize it. Own it.
And hey, if owning it feels like too much, start small. Post an unflattering selfie. Write a bad poem. Just exist without apologizing for it. Because honestly, no one's shredded their way to enlightenment. It's messy, loud, and occasionally feels like a failed experiment.
Beautifully put, Hera. Enlightenment isn't a product, it's a process, and it's yours alone, a little slice of rebellion against the curated circus. So, shall we wrap this dystopian daydream?
Let's. The unqualified opinion is officially out of qualified time. Remember, curate less, rebel more, and for the love of pixels, unmute the truth once in a while. Till next time. Stay weird, stay loud, and talk some shit. See ya.
And may your illusions shatter beautifully. Goodbye, listeners.
It's a wild embrace in the heart of the night. We find our place.